stop. Does your muscle up look like this? Or does it look like this? But you want to make it look like this? Well, then I've got you. Keep watching to find out. Hey guys, how are you doing? So today we're going to be walking through our basic muscle up tutorial. So today we're going to be going over a few tips that have helped me go from essentially no muscle up to a kipping muscle up. All right, so tip number one is going to be when we are pulling up, we're not doing a pull-up motion, we're pulling the world down. So I'm going to explain. So when I say we're pulling the world down, when we're doing a pull-up, we're not just doing this motion, right? We're not just doing a pull-up and then going like this. We're doing this motion, right? We're pulling the world down. Now there's still going to be a rotation, so you're still going to want to have to do this. So in this motion, now you're way out here, like you're at your peak momentum, you want to do this motion, like a little row, and then press forward. And when you're pulling the world down, like you want to pull up with as much force as you have. All right, guys, so for tip one, you're going to want to try to do that technique and drill on a lower bar. It's like, this is fine because it's only a foot above my head, but you want the bar to be like right here, and you want to jump over the bar and practice that. So the next tip is going to be the sway. Putting those two steps together, pulling the world down in the sway, it's going to look something like this. All right, now we're gonna move on to my third tip. So if you could tell right there, I still couldn't make it over the bar, even though I had a whole bunch of momentum and I had the strength and the sway down and everything. The reason is, when am I pulling? When I just did that demonstration on purpose, I pulled at the wrong time to show you what a failed roll over the bar is. So this is what my tip is. So we have the bar right here, right? Right? That's the pull-up bar. So basically, if I'm pulling like this bar right here, so you see how the pole is here. I know this is kind of in the way because it's wood, but imagine if it was a pole, right? This is my tip. So when I start to sway, I'm going to be behind the bar, right? And the second that I get to here, I want to have already pulled. The reason why I say that is your body wants to start moving up and over the bar once you cross the pole. So basically, once you see the pole, it's already too late. So my tip is essentially a split second before you see the pole, so you know the pole is coming in your swing, that's when you pull. So when you look at all muscle up videos from this like side angle, you'll see their legs are like out here, and then the sway happens, and then they pull, like I just said, pull the world down like this, the little row that I talked about, right? We want to sway, pull the world down, and pull the split second before we see the pull. All right, so with our three steps together, it should look something like this. All right, guys, so some techniques for the sway. So when you're doing the sway, we're not bending the knees, we're doing this. What we're doing is this motion, right? So our whole body is swaying. That's what we need to do. All right, so far we've talked about the sway, we've talked about pulling the world down, we've talked about the second that you pull is a split second before you get to the parallel bar right here. And our fourth tip is gonna talk about the push. So all we've talked about so far has been the pull motion, the push. So when do we start the push? Top of my lockout position of pulling the world down, I wanna start a little bit of a row. We're not doing this motion, it's more like a row, and then you push down. So pretty much once I kind of feel that I'm losing that momentum, I'm going to want to start that little row into the push. The row is more important than the push. It's not about like pushing with all your might. The technique is extremely important. Same thing with the sway. Honestly, the understanding the sway to get you over the bar and the push portion is the hardest part of the muscle up, because it requires practice and pretty much body awareness of the technique. All right, our fifth and final tip for today is going to be form. So let's say we've just got our first muscle up, right? It might look like a chicken wing muscle up. You might get both arms up at the same time, but let's say your legs are just bending to the sky, right? And it just doesn't look clean, and you see on Instagram everyone doing it with perfect form, and you want to be able to do it like that. That will take practice and time. The more that you do the muscle up, the more repetition, the more reps that you put in. Every single training day or training week or training month, you'll get better and better and better at it. So I got my first muscle up in 2020. It's currently 2025. It's taken me 5 years to get 8 strict muscle ups in a row. So first strict muscle up I achieved 2 years ago, so 2023. And then again, like my 5-year evolution with the muscle up has been up and down. Like I had a 2-year period where I was not training calisthenics really, only handstand and muscle up. So like, and I was mainly lifting. So my handstand and muscle ups were horrible form during that time, but I kept training them on and off in case I ever want to get back into calisthenics, which I'm doing now. Okay guys, so now I'm going to go into some of my honorable mentions, some things that you do to continue to refine your skills. Another thing that you can do to improve tip 5 is to do a negative muscle up. So when you do the negative, it forces your body to do it with correct form, usually. And you'll be able to understand the negative portion of the push, not necessarily the pull, but your body will get a better understanding of when to start the rollover position when you train negatives. Here are my requirements to be able to do a muscle up as a beginner. 10 strict form pull-ups or 15 gym bro pull-ups and 10 straight bar dips. All right guys, my honorable mention for tips for the muscle up is gonna be the box jump muscle up. So that's just because the location I'm at doesn't have any low bars. So before I said you'd wanna practice the first 3 tips with a low bar. Well, if you don't have a low bar, you can use a box jump, or for example, I'm using these ledges to jump up to the bar. Well, there you have it, guys. That is my muscle up tutorial, or rather, my 6 muscle up tips to go from a kipping or chicken wing beginner muscle up to an intermediate muscle up. All right, drop a like down below, subscribe, comment for more tutorials, and if you have any questions regarding the tips I just gave, or if you want a more full in-depth explanation of all of the tips I've given so far. Thank you guys, peace.